And so those are my childhood dreams. And that's pretty good. I felt good about that. So then the question becomes, how can I enable the childhood dreams of others? And again, boy, am I glad I became a professor. What better place to enable childhood dreams? Because a young man named Tommy Burnett, when I was at the University of Virginia, came to me, was interested in joining my research group, and we talked about it, and he said, oh, and I have a childhood dream. Well, it gets pretty easy to recognize them when they tell you. And I said, yes, Tommy, what is your childhood dream? He said, I want to work on the next Star Wars film. So in 1993, and I said to Tommy, you know they're probably not going to make those next movies. And he said, no, they are. And Tommy worked with me for a number of years as an undergraduate and then as a staff member. And then when I moved to Carnegie Mellon, every single member of my team came from Virginia to Carnegie Mellon, except for Tommy, because he got a better offer. And he did indeed work on all 3 of those films. And then I said, well, that's nice, but one at a time is kind of inefficient. And people who know me know that I'm an efficiency freak. So I said, can I do this in mass? Can I get people turned in such a way that they can be turned on to their childhood dreams? And I created a course. I came to Carnegie Mellon and I created a course called Building Virtual Worlds. It's a very simple course. Randomly chosen teams, 4 people per team, and they change every project. A project only lasts 2 weeks, so you do something, you make something, you show something, then I shuffle the teams, you get 3 new playmates, and you do it again. And I said, and the kid said, well, what content do we make? I said, hell, I don't know. You make whatever you want. 2 rules, no shooting violence and no pornography. Not because I'm opposed to those in particular, but that's been done with VR, right? And you'd be amazed how many 19-year-old boys are completely out of ideas when you take those off the table. Anyway, so I taught the course. The first assignment, I gave it to them. They came back in 2 weeks, and they just blew me away. I mean, the work was so beyond, literally, my imagination. Because I'd copied the process from Imagineering's VR lab, but I had no idea what they could or couldn't do with it as undergraduates and how, because their tools were weaker. And they came back in the first assignment, and they did something that was so spectacular that I literally did 10 years as a professor, and I had no idea what to do next. So I called up my mentor. I called up Andy Van Dam. And I said, Andy, I just gave a 2-week assignment, and they came back and did stuff that if I'd given them a whole semester, I would have given them all A's. Sensei, what do I do? And Andy thought for a minute, and he said, you go back into class tomorrow, and you look them in the eye, and you say, guys, that was pretty good, but I know you can do better. And that was exactly the right advice, because what he said was, you obviously don't know where the bar should be, and you're only going to do them a disservice by putting it anywhere. And boy, was that good advice, because they just kept going. And during that semester, it became this underground thing. I'd walk into a class with 50 students in it, and there were 95 people in the room. Because it was the day we were showing work. And people's roommates and friends and parents. I'd never had parents come to class before. It was flattering and somewhat scary. And so it snowballed, and we had this bizarre thing of, well, we got to share this. If there's anything I've been raised to do, it's to share. And I said, we got to show this at the end of the semester. We got to have a big show. And we booked this room, Economy. I have a lot of good memories in this room. And we booked it not because we thought we could fill it, but because it had the only AV setup that would work, because this was a zoo. Right, computers and everything. And then we filled it. And we more than filled it. We had people standing in the aisle. I will never forget the dean at the time, Jim Morris, was sitting on the stage right about there. We had to kind of scoot him out of the way. And the energy in the room was like nothing I had ever experienced before. And President Cohen, Jerry Cohen, was there, and he sensed the same thing. He later described it as like an Ohio State football pep rally, except for academics. And he came over and he asked exactly the right question. He said, before you start, he said, I gotta know, where are these people from? He said, the audience, what departments are they from? And we polled them, and it was all the departments. And I felt very good because I had just come to campus, he had just come to campus, and my new boss had seen in a very corporal way that this is the university that puts everybody together. And the course was all about bonding. People used to say, well, what's going to make for a good world? I said, I can't tell you beforehand, but right before they present it, I can tell you if the world's good just by the body language. If they're standing close to each other, the world is good. All right? And BVW was a pioneering course, and I won't bore you with all the details, but it wasn't easy to do. And I was given this when I stepped down from the ETC, and I think it's emblematic. If you're going to do anything that's pioneering, you will get those arrows in the back, and you just have to put up with it. I mean, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but at the end of the day, a whole lot of people had a whole lot of fun. When you've had something for 10 years that you hold so precious, it's the toughest thing in the world to hand it over. And the only advice I can give you is find somebody better than you to hand it to. And that's what I did. But it was just one course. And then we really took it up a notch. And we created what I would call the Dream Fulfillment Factory. Don Marinelli and I got together, and with the university's blessing and encouragement, we made this thing out of whole cloth that was absolutely insane, should never have been tried. All the sane universities didn't go near this kind of stuff, creating a tremendous opportunistic void. Don and I were two kindred spirits. We're very different. Anybody who knows us knows that we're very different people. Okay, this picture was Don's idea, okay? And we like to refer to this picture as Don Marinelli on guitar and Randy Pausch on keyboards. But we really did play up the left brain, right brain, and it worked out really well that way. Don is an intense guy, and Don and I shared an office. And at first it was a small office. We shared an office for 6 years. He said, given your current condition, have you thought about whether you're going to go to heaven or hell? And I said, I don't know, but if I'm going to hell, I'm due 6 years for time served. But I kid. The keys to success were that Carnegie Mellon gave us the reins. Completely gave us the reins. We had no deans to report to. We reported directly to the provost, which is great because the provost is way too busy to watch you carefully. We were given explicit license to break the mold. It was all project-based. It was intense. It was fun. And we took field trips. Every spring semester in January, we'd take all 50 students in the first-year class, and we'd take them out to shots at Pixar. We'd take them to Pixar, Industrial Light and Magic. The kind of project students would do, we did a lot of what we'd call edutainment. We developed a bunch of things with the Fire Department of New York, a network simulator for training firefighters, using video game-ish type technology to teach people useful things. That's not bad. Companies did this strange thing. They put in writing, we promise to hire your students. I've got the EA and Activision ones here. I think there are now, how many? 5? I was going to say, Drew knows, I bet. So there are 5 written agreements. I don't know of any other school that has this kind of written agreement with any company. And so that's a real statement. And these are multiple-year things. So they're agreeing to hire people for summer internships that we have not admitted yet. That's a pretty strong statement about the quality of the program. One of the big success about the ETC is when you're taking Building Virtual Worlds, every 2 weeks we get peer feedback. We put that all into a big spreadsheet, and at the end of the semester, you had 3 teammates per project, 5 projects. That's 15 data points. That's statistically valid. And you get a bar chart telling you on a ranking of how easy you are to work with where you stack up against your peers. Boy, that's hard feedback to ignore. Some still managed, but... But for the most part, people looked at that and went, wow, I gotta pick it up a notch. I better start thinking about what I'm saying to people in these meetings. And that is the best gift an educator can give, is to get somebody to become self-reflective. But I wanted something infinitely scalable, right? Scalable to the point where millions or tens of millions of people could chase their dreams with something. And I guess that kind of a goal really does make me the Mad Hatter. So Alice is a project that we've worked on for a long, long time. It's a novel way to teach computer programming. Kids make movies and games. The head fake. Again, we're back to the head fakes. Best way to teach somebody something is to have them think they're learning something else. All right? I've done it my whole career. And the head fake here is that they're learning to program, but they just think they're making movies and video games. This grand vision, and to the extent that you can live on in something, I will live on in Alice.